Welcome everyone to our first look at Tech Corp. Tech Corp is a type of tycoon game where your goal is to create a tech company and then become the largest in the world. You're going to start in the time frame of the early 90s when technology was just getting started for all of the wonderful gadgets that we have today, and then you work your way forward. Now the goal of the game is to have an infinite amount of time, not that you have an actual end game, but you can continue growing. And in order to make that money that you're going to need to grow, you're going to be making things like software, games, and then as you can see on the screen, there's also production involved so that you make all the parts and pieces and components necessary for your products, whether it be TVs, phones, cameras, video, whatever the case may be. So you've got a lot of options, but we're just getting started in early access. So expect a lot of bugs in the game and of course, incomplete feature sets. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off by taking a little bit of a look at the settings, and then we're going to go into some of the startup play and give an idea of exactly what can be done in the early game. All right, to start off with, let's go ahead and click on settings. You can see pretty minimalist settings. You've got full screen, no full screen, show the frames per second, which Steam is showing me the frames per second. Quality profile is on ultra. I'm playing at 1080p with maximum anti-aliasing and then VSync. All of these were the default. So the only thing I've done to change is I turned the music volume all the way off for recording purposes. But other than that, we're ready to go. We'll go ahead and click on apply. And then we're going to click new game. Now in the future, you can see there's going to be at least 3 modes. Right now, we're going to start out on normal mode, which is essentially the tutorial section. Then in the future, there'll be a challenge mode, and also the sandbox mode lets us know that we need to finish the tutorial first before we can get into that. We need to set a company name, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, this is going to be Knee Pit Tech, so Knee Pit Tech. There we go. Looks a little funny, but we're going with it. All right, normal mode. Let's click on that. Now we have to choose our starting region. And as we move around, you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, the various interests change. So as we click on different areas, you can see exactly what we're dealing with. Okay, so we're just going to stick with the US right now. It gives us a lot of information about the population as well as their interests. Now we're going to come down to the bottom of the screen, select USA as the starting region. Yes, please. Confirm that. Very quick loading screen, and here we are. So welcome to Tech Corp. I will help you while you get the ropes, or while you learn your ropes, managing your company. Let's start out by buying our first desk. So here's what you see. Now, there is no way to scroll in or out. What you see is what you get. Now, as we get bigger and bigger, that might change. But for right now, we can't really grab and move anything around the screen. And the things you see that are already in our office, we can't really interact with. Okay? And you can see it's a basic garage setup. There's your garage door, the door into the house. So a perfect setup for us to start our tech company. Let's go into the shop. And they want us to pick out a basic desk to get started. So we've got basically 2 different types of items in here. We've got our desks, basic desk, engineer desk, and manager desk. These are obviously for our employees to work at. The managers are very important because they allow you to automate the work. And we're going to see that a little bit later. These other items from the foosball table, couches, water coolers, and so on, these are times where your employees can take breaks. So you need these available. Otherwise, your employees will never take a break and they will simply run out of energy. So we're going to start out with a basic desk. We'll buy that. And now we have options to move things around. So I can place this with the left mouse button. I can also rotate it with the right mouse button. Okay, keep things simple. We're just going to go ahead and place this right on the edge of the carpet here. Okay, now we're done in the shop. Now we need to hire our first employee. And it's letting us know we need to recruit a sales executive. And then after hiring them, we need to assign them to a desk. Let's go ahead and get rid of the advisor there. So we have 3 tabs within the employee section. We have our current employees, which of course is empty right now. Then we have the type of employee we want to recruit. For us, sales executive is exactly what we want, but we have different options. Programmers, lead developers, researchers, engineers, marketers, and managers. Employee levels, we're going to start out with low-level employees, and you can see we have to unlock the middle or high employee level, and then we can select the duration of our recruitment. Now, our recruitment, we're just going to stick with the 5 days, but basically it's letting us know that the longer you search for candidates, the more you're going to get. So we'll just stick with 5 days. It's going to cost us a couple of grand, but that's no problem. We've got $27,500 in reserve right now. Okay, so that is in progress. And you can see we are moving right now. There is one fast forward option available, and then we can also pause, which we are going to do now, because on the right hand side of the screen, this is where all of our notifications are going to pop up. And right now you can see that we have 8 candidates that are ready to be hired. That's enough for us right now, so we'll go ahead and view those. But again, the longer you let it go up to the maximum time you selected, you'll get more candidates. Here we're going to see their salary, their age, lots of other information, but what we're really interested in is we want to look at their skill levels. So we've got 10s, 7s, 8s, 50s for endurance. But we want to scroll down. There you go. There's 40 in negotiation, 58 endurance, 30 sales. Okay, I like that. And ultimately, it is all about what you think you can afford. Now, in our case, all of these salaries are pretty close. They're within $3,000 or $4,000 from bottom to top. So I think we're going to go with Joseph Williams. We're going to click on Hire. Okay, employee needs a desk. We've already purchased that, so we're fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to clean this list. Now you notice it doesn't do anything immediately, but if we come back to the recruitment screen and then go back, you can see it has cleaned that list out. Now we need to assign our employee to a desk, so we're going to click on the desk and assign our sales executive. Okay, our sales executive will search for software contracts in our particular case, but they can go for either software or manufacturing contracts. Right now, as a very small company, we're going to stick to software for a good while. So we're going to select software, and now they will get busy looking for contracts. And as soon as they find one, we can choose whether we want to accept it or decline it, and then get to work on actually programming the software needed. But before we click out of that and continue on hiring a programmer, this particular screen lets us know that Joseph Williams, it shows us our salary, shows his loyalty, and his energy level. This energy level is very important. The lower this gets, the slower they work. And of course, if it reaches 0, then you're getting nowhere. So we have the option, without any managers on board, we have the option to send them on break, or of course fire them if we so choose, and look for a better alternative. But we can send them on break, and they will go to one of the break areas that we saw earlier in the store and wait for their energy to recharge. All right, so we're going to leave this on pause once again, and we're going to get rid of our advisor, go to the shop, and once again we just need a basic desk, $2,500. And we're just going to keep it simple and keep these guys right next to each other. And you can see I can get pretty close. There we go. That's pretty good. And let's see, we've got the desk. Let's go ahead and purchase while we're in here. Let's get a couch. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. We're going to have to come back in. Let's go ahead and get the couch. Nope, you don't want me to get a couch yet. Okay. So now employees, we've already got our desk. Let's see, let's make sure. Okay, we're still cleaned out there. Now we need to find a programmer, and low, 5 days, perfect, $2,000. And we'll let that run, and we'll watch our notifications. 1, 2, there we go, 3. And we'll wait till it gets to 6 to 8, somewhere in that range. There we go. It's gotten to 8, so let's go and take a look. So again, the salaries are pretty much the same as what we were looking at before, somewhere between 30 and 34, 35,000. Now we're looking at programming. This is a very nice candidate here. 30, 26, 54. Even better, 40, 37, and then 59. So very nice here. And they would cost us less money. Okay, 10, 20. We don't want these guys. All right, there's a 50 for 32. Let's just go ahead and get the best available. So Joseph Williams. We're going to hire Joseph Williams. All right, am I losing my mind? Or, yep, that's Joseph Williams. And that's Joseph Williams. All right, so we've got our first contract, which is available. If you take a look in the top right-hand corner in the notifications section, you will see that the requirements are they want UI, networking, back-end, and encryption components. They're going to give us 3 months to get this done, and if we're able to fulfill this contract, we'll make a little over $45,000. We'll go ahead and accept that, obviously. Okay, good. Let's actually come back in here, and I tell you what, we'll leave those guys out there for a little while. Okay, so we need to give this guy something to do. And so what we're going to do is get started building these requirements. So we're going to start with the UI component, which is at the very beginning. And here you also see the stock of these that we've worked on that have not been used for any particular project. And of course, right now, that is completely empty. Okay, so we have that going, and you can see everything is going to fill in until he has completed his first component, and he'll just keep going until we tell him to stop or work on something else. Now, this is where managers become important. As we get more and more employees, particularly more employees of the same type, such as multiple programmers, multiple engineers, and so on, you're going to want to have managers, because managers will automate the process of what these guys work on. So if you have 5 programmers, you don't want to spend time clicking on each of the 5 programmers and telling them what to work on. Instead, you can tell the manager what they need to work on, and the manager will take care of it. Now, there's a little caveat that I really wish we could get a change on in the future in the game, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. All right, so let's go ahead and pause for a moment. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead into the shop. We're going to buy another desk. And just to make this, that's good enough. We'll get that. Now we'll come back in to our programmers. And we're going to hire another programmer. And we've got a Richard Williams. So let's go ahead and hire Richard. Now he's pretty expensive, but we're not going to worry about it. This is just our first look. So we're trying to get the hang of this, and this will really help with having multiple programmers. That will help us to get a better idea of exactly what the manager is going to do. So we're going to let him work on the networking component, which is the second, and you'll see his bar will continue to increase as he works. Some components go by quicker than others, just depending on the difficulty and, of course, the skill level of our particular employee. All right, we see that UI components are almost done. In fact, there you go. We just reached 5 out of 5. But before we go ahead and assign him manually to another task, let's go ahead and start the look. Let's clean our list. And then we're going to start to look for a manager. Again, employee level is going to be low. Duration is still going to be 5 days. So we'll get that started. And let's see, let's just go this, let this go a little bit longer. There we go. 5 is enough. The more the better, but for our purposes today, 5 will be just fine. And again, we see the salary 30 to 35,000 roughly. And let's see, I see a management 50, intelligent 45. I like that. Okay, so these are pretty close to the same, but Michael Miller is a good bit cheaper. So I think we're going to go with him. We'll go ahead and hire him. And right now he doesn't have anywhere to sit, so we need to take care of that for him. There's a manager desk, $2,500. And let's see, the manager gets to sit in the corner. He gets the corner office. Okay, now we need to assign our manager. Now we need to tell the manager what to do. What kind of employees is he going to be managing? In this case, he's going to be managing programmers. We have 2 programmers right now. We're going to go ahead and click assign on both of those. So now, from this point forward, our manager will decide what task they work on. All of them will work on the same task as long as they're assigned to the same manager. And then we can decide when they automatically go on break. So let's go ahead and let's see, rest at 10%. I'm going to go ahead and move this up to about 70. We want to keep people pretty fresh all the time, so I'm going to leave it at 70, but you're free to move this along however you need to. Okay, let's go ahead and set a task. And next up on the agenda is, it looks like back-end components after we get done with network. So let's go ahead and continue with networking. And there you can see it's being worked on. So we've got more than enough UI components. We're about to have 2 networking components, and we're well on our way with only 78 days left. So we should be perfectly fine to get this done. Now, before these guys can take a break, we need to give them somewhere to take a break. Otherwise, they won't go anywhere. They'll just simply work, even if the manager is trying to get them to take a break. So we need, let's see, let's go ahead and let's start out with a fridge. And let's put the fridge down here. We don't want to put it in front of our whiteboard over there. So we'll put it there, and just for fun, we'll buy a couch as well to give room for multiple employees. There we go. So we're down to $9,000. So we're going to have to be careful about what we wish for there. Let's go ahead and view these guys, clean the list out. There we go. Networking components are done. Let's go ahead and stop that task. And back-end components, let's let them get started on that. And you can see immediately we are running through these particular requirements. I love it. All right, there we go. Now we're ready for encryption, which is right here. So as soon as we get one encryption, we'll be done. There we go. Go ahead and stop that task. I tell you what, go ahead, let's pause and continue working on, let's work on UI. And let them work on UI components while we look for another contract. All right, so let's go ahead and start that back up and just let them get to work on some new ones. All right, so we're ready to complete this one. Click on deliver, and there you see we got our money, and we also have another contract that our employee has found for us. We got a couple of people on break right now. Again, we've got our breaks happening when they're still at 70%. So not a lot there. They're going to spend some time over it, but the good news is they shouldn't be on break for very long. Next contract gives us a couple of months, and they're going to pay us $62,000. Okay, let's go ahead and accept that. And there you can see the components we're going to need, and as luck would have it, we don't need any UI components that we've been working on. So let's go ahead and stop that. Let's see, we need a photo component. There we go. We need 6 of those. So we'll let these guys finish up their break. And let's see, can we click on you? No, we cannot. We don't need to move any furniture. There we go. So now that they are managed, in other words, they are assigned to a manager who is now on break, they are both really out of our control. We've turned over control to the manager, so we can't click on them. We can't really affect anything that they're doing, which is perfectly fine. Now, they've already gotten ahead of me on the photo components. These guys are moving very quickly. So let's go ahead and stop that task. And what do we need next? We need camera components. Camera component right there. And so we need 4 of those. So again, this won't be taking very long at all. But the problem we've got right now is that we've got a manager that is on break. There we go. Now we're back to working. You'll see the camera components are going to be filling up very quickly. There we go. We're done with those. Encryption. And encryption, there we are. So far, so good. We are well ahead of schedule. Still 42 days remaining to complete this task. And we'll have 6 encryption components very quickly. And then we'll move on to finally the audio component. Now, as we continue on, the game will, in the tutorial section, will try to help us get started in the manufacturing. We're not going to quite get that far in today's video, but you get the gist of it. And in fact, I would recommend before you even attempt to get into manufacturing your own components, that you save up quite a bit of money, because it is extremely expensive to upgrade. So let's go ahead, audio component. And so we'll keep going. Really, there's no reason for us to fast forward at this point because it's going really fast as it is. Oh, we must have some people on break. And sure enough, I see our 2 programmers right there on break. And here you can see their energy level as it comes back closer and closer to 100. So again, they take breaks often, but they don't last all that long. So each of these guys is very close to 100 energy. And there we are. We're back to work. Okay, now we got our manager is on break and we're done. We are ready to deliver. And so watching the top of the screen, we got 32,435 right now. Click on deliver. There you have it, 94,000. Very nice. So let's go ahead and pause again because we've got a new contract available again. We've got an employee working hard to get us these $60,000, 2 months, and this looks to be similar to what we've worked on again so far. So we'll go ahead and accept that. However, now our advisor is letting us know that we've worked a little bit on software and now he wants us to get into hardware, and we're not going to get into that in today's video. If you guys are interested, we might do some gameplay, maybe a let's play through the game, at least the parts of the game that are here now. But right now, our next step would be we need to hire a researcher and have him get busy researching different parts. We're talking about monitor display types, the quality of the display. Actually, I believe the initial display is like a 144p. So you got a while. We're starting in the 90s and we're moving our way forward. So we can research CPUs, GPUs, RAM, and hard drives, you name it. We can research it and then ultimately produce it for sale in our own products and services. So that's going to do it for today and our first look of Tech Corp. Thank you very much for joining me.